Still waiting 3 times to be set. Looks all good at the moment. Thank you, Novatech, for that. Fingers crossed. Wiggles goes quickest on a 37.3. In the last 2 weeks, in 4 races, Tamino has taken pole position, and that's put him currently tied for the IIRL pole position record with Mr. Wiggles. So it could be a fight here between MVR Tamino and Mr. Wiggles, who's got pole tonight. And whoever gets pole tonight, if it's them two, if it's one of them two, it will be their 15th IIRL pole position. So that'll be interesting to watch. Deton, that guy's still in the pits. Renier has improved on his personal best time a few moments ago. Don't worry, Novatech, me neither. Times, so I think Renier could be out here of qualifying in Q1 100 milestone. Fingers crossed that happens for you today. And I think we might be having a restart at some point. I don't know. I need a little bit of confirmation, I think. Rick Padge run it, all retired. Kemet spun on outlap, thank you. That guy sets his first lap of the session and goes P10 and gets him nicely through into Q2. Ross is in the wall. Okay, he should be through anyway. Kemet's might be under pressure a little bit here, but no, Deton can't make it through. So Kemet's, even though he is on a lap, doesn't need to finish it. He is through into Q2. Ross with no news. Ross with no nose on the car, and we'll cross the line just to finish the session. Yes, Kemet's just enjoying a bit of track time right now. Doesn't need to improve, but you know, a good lap under your belt in the early stages never hurt you. Cross the line and it's a 38 point something and goes 10th. Talks of a possible restarted lobby either now or when the race starts, so after quali, but we'll get some confirmation to you when we know. But in a bug-filled Q1, Renier qualifies in 19th place, Padgestic in 18th, Deton down in 17th place, and IIRL Greg drops out. Always space to make up, Deton. Go on board then with Ross for a track tour into the game. Can cut these inside corners, but don't get too hasty on the throttle out of turn 3. Nicely done there from Ross, very smooth corner. Into this beautiful left-hander. You can cut these corners. Don't run too far wide, of course. Catch the throttle and catch the car like Ross did. Avoid the spin. Bombing down now well into sector 2. It's a very tight section where overtakes are impossible in this part of the track. Over the Anderson Bridge now and set your car up. Don't hit that wall on the right as you set your car for this hairpin and come out of it. Get the throttle nice. Plant it down, don't spin, and you get DRS down towards the start of this final sector. Into another tight chicane section. These curbs will ruin your car, so careful on those. Again, a place where overtaking is probably not encouraged. A few corners left, another right-left chicane, a few of them on this track. Plant the throttle, bit of a lift into the final corner, swing it wide, and you do get some DRS over the line, but not really enough. As you finish your lap, Ross does a 38.2, which is almost a full second off of what Mr. Wiggles did in Q1. Do like Singapore, feel like it suits me, as I also had my first ever win in a league race on here. Congratulations for that. So yeah, it's kind of a Marmite track. Some people love it. I mean, I love this track as Wiggles goes for a spin at the final corner, just like we saw Tamino do in Q1. Plenty of invalidations going on. D-Bomb, Perry Jerry, for instance. Hissy set a banker on the board, but that's not going to be quick enough. Deflated Wee 2 on a 45.8. That's not going to get him through either, so both of them will need to improve. Slapbus has opted for the medium compound tyres and does the 38.8. Currently third fastest is that guy you hear just running into the wall slightly. Has backed off this run and might need to pit for some a new front wing. You've seen a bit of a trend last week at Monza in our 3 league races. There was plenty of incidents for the steward to deal with. I wonder if tonight is going to be similar. Maybe people are going to nudge the walls rather than other people here this week. Clements, nice to see him back here in IRL. Has over 40 races on record and hasn't really featured this season at all. So nice to have Clements back. Hope you get back into the swing of things. Currently on a 39.0. Eleven drivers out on track right now. Mix in sectors 1, 2 and 3. So drivers finding space to get their laps on the board. Smiley getting very close to the wall there, using all of this track. It's a nice hairpin. Doesn't clip the apex, but you don't need to on that. Tamino does a very similar lap to what Wiggles set in Q1. Goes fastest by 0.6. That will comfortably see Tamino through into the last part of qualifying. John currently second fastest. Ross Deflated Wee has improved to a 38.5 and currently is 6th fastest. Smaller Smiley, brilliant lap there. He's usually not in the picture for pole position, so to put his car up there in P2, that is a really, really good lap there from Smaller. Deflated Wee, I believe, 2 seconds separate the top 10, but only 1 second separates 5th and 10th. So it's all pretty close. Everyone in the 1 minute 37s can be pretty confident that they're going to get through on those times. But with 3 more times incoming, as D-Bum goes 3rd fastest, nice lap there. And goes ahead of his AMS friend fairly. Slapbus, meanwhile, has switched out his mediums for his first set with a set of soft tyres for his second run. Don't have corona, but it feels so bad. Mate, Snacks, all the best for your recovery, mate. Hopefully you don't feel this way for a long time. Tamino retiring. Has a nice healthy 4/10 advantage on everyone else. Very close there between D-Bomb, Fairly, John. Less than half a tenth separating those 3 drivers. Could be something to look out for in Q3 and possibly the race. Pretty close between Flu and Wee, as that guy sets his first lap of the session and goes, what was second, now is 3rd, as Slapbus improves to P2. TD has joined the lobby. I imagine he'll be joining my party very soon. Mr. Wiggles makes it 8 drivers now in the 1 minute 37s. He goes quickest on a 0.1. Flu's time is now the time to beat. .38.5. Deflated Wheat, Joseph Hales, Hissy, Perry Jerry, all out on track. Yes, TD. Hello, TD.
Hello. It's me again. You've all got to
It's
suffer
you again.
with me again.
Who are you talking to, the chat or me?
Both of you.
You heard it here first, guys.
You've got to suffer.
So Flu has retired from the session and is in 11th, so that is the best he can hope for, but we'll be heading out of Q2 as things stand. We've still got Wee and Joseph Hales, who you probably expect to see in and around the top 10. Joseph Hales goes 6th fastest, ahead of D-Bomb. That's a nice little lap. So he will go again in a few moments' time when he crosses that finish line. Perry Jerry pits from 11th and won't make it through into Q3. Ross is the time to beat on a 38.2 exactly at this moment. Everyone else above him is in the 37s, and that might be what it takes to get through.
It's going to be extremely tight with Deflated, and I think if you don't get through, then it's a big shock.
Hissy 1.2 up in the Sector 2 split. Obviously needs a vast amount of time in this final sector, which is probably where he lost all his time. So again, it's hard to really know if this lap is quick enough from Hissy.
Oh, he just makes it.
Checker flag falls. Obviously we know Perry Jerry and Flu are out. Will Kemments and Hissy join them? Hissy only makes 12th fastest. Not too far away, but just went a bit wide in Sector 3. And in the end it cost him 13th place.
It's all on Deflated Way now because John's backed off. Ross invalidated his lap time, so Ross could be out here.
So it's Ross versus Wee. Either way, we're going to have a bit of a shock. Someone very quick is heading out of qualifying, but who's it going to be? Ross leading the championship by over 90 points. Really needs to... doesn't need to finish in the points today, but obviously if he does, he puts the pressure on Tamino. And Wee goes 7th fastest and pushes Ross out of quali. And in the end, a 1 minute 37 was needed to get yourself into Q3.
If you do get it right, and it is very hard to get right, but yeah, I think it's a decent track. Obviously, it's hard to overtake, but it's not impossible, I don't think.
And we were saying earlier before we joined that usually on these kind of tracks, we'd say qualifying is really important. As Deflated Wee is disqualified for blocking the pit lane. That is so unlucky.
Stupid glitch.
I know Wee was. I knew Wee was not saying Q2 felt great, but obviously that Q3 is more of a nightmare for him. So
You might as well have stayed in Q2. But this track it is a little bit wider, which kind of helps you to keep out of a wall a bit compared to Marco.
I'm not sure I can repeat what Wee has just said in Discord.
Let me have a look. Wait.
Something about a toaster in a bath. It was quite funny. Thank you for the follow a couple of minutes ago, Matt. I really appreciate that. I hope you're well.
If you've ever heard this, if you've ever heard the saying, you'll know what Tim means by that, by the way.
It was even funnier, Wee. Ross then complained that you knocked him out and then got disqualified. It's too funny. I love our Discord. It's very great. Is it really 20 seconds, Novatech? Somehow I doubt it's going to be 20 seconds. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I thought it wouldn't be as much as 20. So I thought it might only be like 5 or 10 seconds. But
what's that?
The new layout that they're temporarily doing for next season will take away this bit of the track that Tamino's at.
I think it's 15 seconds.
15 seconds? Wow. It'd be a race for the Singapore record then next season.
Kevin Magnussen's going to lose it now!
We could have a similar Kevin Magnussen situation. Oh, and look at that. Q3 starts off with the 2 fastest lap times we've seen tonight. Tamino just edging out Slapbus by 100th of a second. As Joseph Hills does 37.4. I just didn't know how many seconds. I thought it would be a lot, but not 20 seconds. But that remains to be seen, of course.
Yeah, 15 to 20 seconds it's expected to be.
Wow, so we're expecting a 1 minute 20 lap time. Somehow I don't think that we should keep that in the records. Because if it's only a temporary layout.
Just put that. Old and new. Old and new.
Yeah, well... So Slapbus comes to the end of his outlap and starts a brand new run. 6 drivers out of the pits. 4 on a lap. It's great we have an international racing league, but it does mean that I do make myself look stupid on stream in multiple different languages. Smaller Smiley loves this track so much, I can tell, mate. Really can. I think this is probably your best qualifying since possibly Miami. Earlier in the season, you were rapid at Miami. Oh, Snacks, your singing on Sunday was amazing. Your rapping. We need more of that, mate. Guess what you had for dinner? I'm not saying buff. So, with 1.5 minutes left of quali, it's... Yeah, I think he'll get there in time. It's a very short last bit.
Yeah,
Previs joined just in the nick of time.
Barely gets over with about 4 seconds. Joseph Hales will be the first one to take the checkered flag. Was fair.
Nice lap. 1 millisecond ahead
Yeah,
of the slap bus.
That. A millisecond, and slap bus isn't improving either, so that's Joseph in front of a slap bus.
John can't improve. He's not got his ERS on. Evening, Demon.
Oh God.
Hope you're well, mate. So, Smaller Smiley loves this track. This is the best we've seen of him, I think, since Miami. What can he manage? A small improvement will get him ahead of John, who can't improve. Needs 7/10 if he wants to drop into the top 4.
Yeah, the person.
Oh, but runs wide at the final corner. He wasn't improving anyway, but... Here comes Fairley.
The
Track
only
map
one.
in Sector 2 is purple.
I think we're about 4 attempts up as well, so he still needs quite a big improvement to get to Wiggles.
So 4/10 would put him on a 36.9. He still needs a good half a second if he wants to challenge for pole in this final sector. Taking as much curb as he dares through this final corner. Cutting it beautifully, not running wide across the line. And it's a 36.8, which will put him 3rd. So it was a good lap from Fairley. But in the end, Mr. Wiggles and Tamino absolutely nailed it. Unfortunately for Tamino, Wiggles takes the record now. He is the highest. He is the driver with the most pole positions now in IRL, with 15.
What a sweat.
Thank you. It's my birthday tomorrow. I turn 1 year older.
This is the year that it turns to the TheSunGod 28. I will find
so no
your
feature driver this week. I'll have you done for identity theft. 37.1 is the race record around this track by MXR, who was a complete alien. Him and Placky, back in the day, if you know FRA Placky, he used to race here, and him and MXR basically used to sweat at the front. And everyone else was like 20 seconds back every race. But since then, we've got some more aliens in our league. TD is not one of them.
No, I'm not one of them. I used to be. I used to be good.
Yeah, he used to be very good. And then you stopped practicing.
Didn't stop practicing. My internet gave up. Okay.
I remember when you disconnected from Spain
Oh,
20 times.
It was pissing me off on there.
Name all the aliens. Ross, John B, Placky, MXR, Fairley.
German was at times.
Yeah, at times. He was overshadowed though by John B.
I mean,
no, you look like an alien, Snacks, because you shouldn't have been an AT2 really. But yeah. No, you were definitely quick enough to be an AT1 last season, so I think it looked like you were an alien, but I don't think you were. Um,
And now he just crashes.
yeah, I'm not sure there's anyone else really, alien-wise.
And 10 used to be an alien.
Hoike used to be an alien.
Mm.
If you know Hoike. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Yeah, Hoike used to be up there. Trying to think. What about Classy? Do you remember when Classy was racing?
Classy were good. Classy were good.
Classy was class.
Shush.
I know. No, you know, no, you're not. You're not Snacks. It's just I think aliens have that consistency level
3
that
seconds.
is just better than everyone else. Run amok at times, yeah. Okay, I wouldn't call every quick driver an alien.
Ooh, Camino's like that.
And he is on the front row of the grid, and as this race gets underway, looks like a clean start for everyone. Oh, there's a... Tamino's ghosted through. Oh, and there's a contact with Fairley and someone? Joseph, I think.
Yeah, Fairley and Joseph.
Yeah, Fairley and Joseph have made contact at turn 1.
Wall.
Indeed, Novatech, crazy turn 1. And already Mr. Wiggles is threatening to run away with this one. Get the position change up. And due to that turn 1 incident, that guy's fallen 11 places too. As Tamino has now joined back after... Tamino's losing places because he's just joining back from disconnection. That's why he's down to 10th, but I imagine he's probably quick enough to make way through the field. Ross is up 4, that's usual for him. Perry Jerry up 7 off his starting grid, and Deflated Wee is already up into 3rd. And him and Slapbus are getting closer to Mr. Wiggles. And plenty of shifting.
Hits it straight on.
And Runnier is out. And then you see it straight into the barrier, and that's a full course safety car. So we're not expecting anyone to pit. Slapbus looked like he was going in, but tried to bait Deflated Wee into a pit stop. Didn't work. It will stay out. Weather, not sure, mate. I believe it's all dry. I mean, I remember on the old game, it was 2 games ago, I think, I did a medium soft on this track. I was like, what is going on? How are you able to do that? But I'm not sure it's possible on this game, so maybe it's just a hard to medium, medium to hard.
Oh, I'm going to pit again.
And he did want the hard tyres back, so you can hire me back. I was correct.
You're hired.
Thank you.
I remember my first league race around Singapore enters for the whole race. It was a lovely race, wasn't it, Tim?
Sorry, no, I missed that. Anyone holding record for most wins in a season? The way we do it is we do season results, so that could be a mix of NA plus 81 or NA plus 82 or 82 plus 81 reserve, that kind of thing. So yeah, look on the driver stats, mate. So safety car will be in this lap. Rev only has 10 seconds or so to catch up. By that point he'll have nice, warm, toasty, hard compound tyres. So might find himself going for a move on some of those back runners. Mr. Wiggles, Slapbus obviously on the hard compound tyres, will need to warm those up better. Deflated Wee's on the mediums, so he'll be looking to try and make moves once this safety car is in. I wish the safety car would go in this early on other tracks. Sometimes you only get like a few hundred meters before you can start backing the pack up. And Wiggles, there he goes, through the final corner to restart this race on lap 5. Got plenty of movements, jockeying for position. A smaller Smiley defending 4th from Perry Jerry. Ross getting round the outside of D-Bomb down towards the first corner. And so far so good for Mr. Wiggles. Nice little restart there.
Oh no, nearly.
D-Bomb getting passed by John. Has Flew and Deton making his way into the points. Nice opening few laps from Deton. Very congested. We might need to put a congestion charge on
John
some of these drivers in this race. Oh, John is round. And then the wall drops to the back, does John. And I think he's moved too much. I think he's just getting back on the way now, John. He'll need a safety car if he wants to come back in here, and Greg has spun out of that chicane. So Greg is now down in 18th. Few gaps starting to form within the top 10. We've got the top 3 who are looking to break away from smaller Smiley, as wide at the final corner goes Ross, and almost into the barrier. We've then got a group of 3, including Ross, D-Bomb behind, defending from, well, pretty much the whole world. They don't get it this lap. So this lap, the job of all the drivers will be to stay within 1 second of the car ahead of them. These top 3 look pretty comfortable at this pace. Smaller, I'm not going to say struggling to keep up, because I don't think he is struggling. Just maybe hasn't got that extra tenth or two of pace that these top 3 do. If Laterwee gets a nice exit out of that hairpin, but just can't get quite close enough to slap bust to attack. If Laterwee with those mediums on will love to try and get past that top 2 and try and make a move as he goes wide at the final corner. Now Wiggles sets a new fastest lap, 1:42.8, which is miles away from what they were doing in quali.
Wiggles had
Clements pits.
a little tap of the wall coming out of the penultimate corner, so just needs to be careful that he doesn't do it too much.
Yeah, you can do those little taps maybe 2 or 3 times before you get some damage, so obviously you've got to minimise that damage. Fairly gets past Eton. Oh, there comes Tamino. Bit of a lunge. That guy keeps in the move. Joseph Hales follows Tamino past the AlphaTauri. Sometimes you have got to go for those moves like Tamino did. I think that guy gave a lot of space and was very respectful, which is always nice to see. But I don't think you can be too aggressive on this track. Otherwise, someone's not going to give as much space and there's just going to be a big accident. and then probably a big argument in the Discord after. We hope not, anyway.
I tried to stop it.
Those top three finding a groove now. Smaller, just missing out on the DRS. As in the foreground there, you can see Fairley getting past Flew into turn 1. Tamino making his way past his teammate Deton into the top 10. Ross has made a mistake very recently, as down the inside of Deton goes Joseph Hales, leaves just about enough room for a car's width. Leaves a car's width on the inside, and as Deton avoids a collision, he gets overtaken by that guy. But Deton is fighting back here. Oh, a bit of contact. McLaren of Hissy trying to get involved in this. Oh, and that could have ended in a big collision. It doesn't. On the whole, I'd say that was pretty good racing there. Didn't see a collision. Tamino making his way past Flew on this lap. Oh, as we see Joseph Hales, he's outbroke himself. Oh, into contact
Safety
between Deton and that guy, and a full safety car.
The leaders
Fairly
just
pits.
went past the safety car as well, so...
Fairley pits, Flew pits, Deton pits, Ash stays out, Joseph Hales pits, but he's just hit the wall, so he might have some damage to fix. That guy pits. Greg also does, and John is now brought back into this race. He pits as well. Kemmons has just pitted, so he'll probably stay out.
Joseph onto the
real
soft
reason.
tyres.
I mean, it's not the worst call, but obviously you do need to make those overtakes very quickly.
The last time we saw Joseph go onto the soft tyres, and we got very confused about it. It rained. So is it going to
True.
rain again?
So Kemmons does stay out, and as a result he jumps a couple of places. But this brings all of those back runners back into the fight. Those out front will be... It doesn't really affect their races too much. These top three were running pretty comfortably. Smaller Smiley still has Perry Jerry for company in the battle for fourth. Oh, that's a bit careless there from Ross under safety car.
That's what I'm thinking. It's a careless thing to do under the safety cars. You shouldn't be getting penalties.
It's the worst thing. It's the worst thing when you get a penalty under safety car conditions. You're like, why am I cutting corners? I don't need to go quick. But maybe for some of them, maybe they're rushing their way through the field. Fleeted is in. D-Bomb stays out. Tamino stays out as well. Hissy stays out. And so does Patch.
I think people who have just pitted for the mediums like Fairley will possibly be pitting again for mediums, because Fairley started on the hards. Why Fairley did it, because obviously he's going to be caught up with everyone.
I think it will stay out another lap and let Joseph catch up. I think the safety car's been out enough now, as far as the game is concerned. But I think Joseph will catch up to the back of the pack, and there you have it. Safety car is in this lap. Those top 7 haven't pitted yet, as we say, so they will need to at some point. Maybe these top 7 are hoping for a late safety car. Joseph is now caught up to the back of his teammate Padgestic. And he'll have nice, very warm, soft tyres.
We could live in it
Joseph
better,
a point still.
He goes now.
There's been an incident in the backfield, I think.
Oh, it's raining.
I think Ross
It's raining.
Ross lost some time. Is it raining?
Yeah, it's raining.
I was going to say that Ross lost some time. And already people are pitting onto Inters. Well, we'll come back to that in a minute.
Oh.
What's happened with Ross, but people are boxing onto Inters very quickly here.
It all depends on how much it comes down, really.
And I can't
comes down
see
a lot.
any rain on my screen. We can just see a few spits, but it's really not raining that much.
Definitely not time for Inters yet, but
Fairley and Hissy trading places. Hissy now finds himself in a Haas sandwich. Keep an eye on that Delta, Tamino behind Padge.
oh, will do.
As Deflated Wee and D-Bomb trade places. Deflated Wee has made a pit stop already, so he's got a new set of tyres on the car. And now's a perfect time to put this in chat. There's not too much time advantage right now from Tamino. This lap has stayed vaguely the same with Padge. That guy comes into the pits, as does Hissy, who speeds in the pit lanes. So, and onto the car go a set of Inters for Hissy.
It's quite easy to speed in the pit lane because it's a curved corner, so it's very hard to actually get it slowed down.
Front wing change for that guy as Fairley goes past D-Bomb. Felt like maybe D-Bomb just let his AMS friend go past there on the quicker tyres. Keep an eye on that delta between Padge and Tamino. It's stayed at 19 and a bit seconds now. It's now at 20 seconds, so potentially we are at a crossover point, but potentially it's not the right time. Just depends on how fast the rain is falling, really. It's a big slide for Fairley. I have a feeling that this was a gamble too soon. Fairley, we've got a big old battle for 7th happening. I was waiting for D-Bomb and D-Ton to be very close together. It's just fun to say, isn't it? D-Bomb and D-Ton.
Yeah, DRS is enabled, so normally when DRS is available, it don't is yet, so
yeah, DRS is enabled because we are lap 3 after a safety car. Don't want people thinking that said DRS disabled because of the rain. But it is starting to rain more. D-Ton obviously onto the Inters. Padge pits 2 for the Inters, and just as it's enabled, it's been taken away. It is now potentially the right time to head onto those green marked tyres. Have to keep an eye on the delta between Greg and Tamino now. It's currently 21.2, and a big slide from Tamino out of turn 4. There's battles going on up and down the field. Not too many battles going on for the inter-runners. It's Fairley and Deflated Wee are fighting. Mr. Wiggles has had a nice restart since the second safety car came in. He now leads Slapbus by 1.6 seconds. And the rain is now starting to fall a bit more heavily. Obviously DRS is now disabled, so we may see a lot of these top runners actually head into the pits. But Mr. Wiggles stays out, as does Slapbus and Smaller Smiley and Ross and Wee and Fairley and Flew and Berry Jerry. Deton pits. I actually think the people on Inters are actually losing time to those on the slicks. So we're definitely at a crossover point, but the rain's not as heavy as potentially people were expecting it. Tamino still finds himself 20 seconds off of the next car up the road. Obviously is leading that cluster of Inter drivers. But this is a very interesting race. If this carries on for another 3 or 4 laps, Mr. Wiggles is going to pit. He's going to get out ahead of Tamino, and he's going to have 7-lap-old fresher tyres for the rest of the race, as Slapbus, I think, has made a couple of mistakes this lap. He's now 2.5 seconds off the lead. Tamino, that gap is now down to 18 seconds, so maybe Greg's just made a mistake. Maybe he's just had a bit of a slide out of a corner, but Tamino is now starting to catch Greg. So... Oh, and Slapbus! That's a huge mistake. Obviously that will force Slapbus's hand. He will now definitely come into the pits for a set of intermediate tyres as he moves out of the way. Oh, and everyone's in now. It's going to be close. Perry Jerry's staying out. Obviously his teammates into the pits ahead of him. So there is no choice but for Perry Jerry to pit. Cummins is in, Greg is in. Tamino only 15 seconds away from Greg now. I doubt he's not going to take the lead. Mr. Wiggles is out in seconds, and Tamino, from out of nowhere, I mean, it's quite clear Tamino didn't plan it perfectly. I mean, he was still 3 or 4 laps off, but I think those who pitted this lap were 1 lap too late. And obviously when Perry Jerry pits, he is going to lose a massive amount of time. I mean, it's not a bad sensation leading a Grand Prix, but in these conditions it's very easy to bin it. And he's already lost a second this sector to Mr. Wiggles. And even though Tamino has nice toasty tyres, he's not gaining on Mr. Wiggles at all. Mr. Wiggles is very, very comfortable right now. Obviously after that safety car, the group is a bit more packed together, but still there's no real gaps in the field apart from Perry to Wiggles and then Wiggles to Tamino and smaller. So really anyone's back in this race. Perry pits. That guy gets a time penalty for corner cutting. Perry Jerry comes out of the pits in 13th. He was running in the top 5. He's lost 8 places because he decided not to double stack with his teammate. Otherwise, potentially, he might be out in 8th or 9th right now. Oh, and there's that was a weird bit of lag for Fairley on my screen. Looked like he ran over a wall there, but I don't think he did. But no, he was close to the wall, didn't hit the wall, but then it looked like he drove over something and his car bumped. It was proper weird. Mr. Wiggles is not losing time to Tamino at all. He is, in fact, half a second better off and is slowly inching away from Tamino. Don't forget, Ross leads Tamino in the championship by over 90 points. So Tamino needs to really outscore Ross by about 15 points per race now. Currently Tamino's earning 18 points and Ross, with his time penalty, is earning 8 points. So it's not enough for Tamino. He needs to win this race. Tell you who's had a good race, Deaton. Really strong race. Qualified outside of the top 10. Had a good start, capitalised on others' mistakes. No time penalties to slow him down. And still finds himself running in the points, keeping John Flute and Slapbus at bay. So Deaton having a nice solid race here. Rain continues to fall here in Singapore, first of 3 streams this week. This is the no assist tier. This is now officially the hardest race we can think of. A wet Singapore race with no assists. So, nothing. And as a result, I have nothing but so much respect for all these drivers. Sticking it out here, obviously for Wiggles, who continues to extend his lead on Tamino. He is driving superbly right now. Obviously that would be bad news, but we and Ross behind have won too. So as long as he can stay 3 seconds out of Fairley, Smaller Smiley should be okay for a podium. But this will give Fairley a massive amount of encouragement. He can see that we and Ross ahead have a penalty. IIRL stats is at it again. I'm going to call you stats now, not snacks. Oh, as D-Bomb just runs a bit too deep there. And John looking to get past. Slapbus' pass flew in the background. That's why he's lost a little bit of time just making that overtake done. Perry Jerry looking to fight back after staying out 1 lap too late on the slicks. These Inters should make it to the end of the race. Padge comes into or out of the pits and gets a 5-second penalty for crossing the white line, possibly locking the brakes. Tell me about it, Snacks. I have like 8 different nicknames and they're all not good. There we go. That's Spin God, Slow God, Shit God, Stream God. I guess that's alright. Wheel God. You know, I'm not racing in this league until I'm actually good on the wheel, because I don't want people to make a meme out of me. So, not much is happening, which is great for us on the stream. We have got some close fights, but it's so hard to overtake in these conditions, as TD said earlier, that there's just not much happening out on track. Oh, I thought there was contact there, but I don't think there was. Well, we had controversy on the weekend with 2 Red Bulls. We almost had some more. Hard to tell. Obviously, we look in broadcast camera, so it's difficult. With each angle, it looks better and worse. So I don't really know what's going on with the rain, but I can't remember the last time we actually had a full wet tyre on the car in a league race. Oh yeah, true. Earlier on this race. No, I can't remember the last time we had a league race that was the rain was so heavy that we had to go onto the full wet tyre. Comes slack bus on Deton down into turn 6. That's the outside line for 7. They leave space. Nice racing there. Slack bus eventually is making his way through the field. He's an angry bus. You might think, well, setup really matters compared to dry and wet, but pretty much everyone's running 50-46 or 50-50 wings here anyway. So really, the wet conditions don't really change what rings you run. It's just more about your suspension and your ride height, I guess. So I imagine people aren't struggling out there. Harry Jerry looks frustrated, shall we say, to be in where he was. Oh, catches the slide very nicely there. Nice save of the evening, but loses a spot down to 14th. Yeah, and gets a time penalty. It's what. Oh, and he's lost it. He's out. Harry's out. He's lost it under throttle, and that is obviously a full course safety car. This is horrible news for Mr. Wiggles, who was leading this race by 7 seconds. And he was just... if anyone does. The problem is... yeah, the problem is in these conditions it's so difficult to overtake that... I don't know. Maybe Tamino, John, Kemments, maybe Joseph Hales is out of the points. He may as well pit and get that removed. He's last anyway, so it wouldn't be a bad idea for Padge to pit. Let's have a look at the penalties. Joseph Hales... Hissy's got 5 seconds. It might not be a bad idea for him to pit, but you will lose a load of time. Ross is in, as is Fairley. D-bomb, yeah. And Hissy double stacking. Wow. So, let's just check in TV pods. It has, and oh, Fairley crosses the pit lane exit white line and gets a 5-second penalty. Oh, that is going to ruin the end of his race, no matter where he finishes. And Kemments too. Will be in trouble. Padge pits. Gets his 5-second penalty removed and goes on to the soft tyre. I imagine these top 5 will be in this lap once they've realised what's going on. Mr. Wiggles is in. Wee is in. John. Deaton. What? Mr. Wiggles. That is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I've seen some stupid stuff in this. This game is utterly broken. And that's stolen a win that Mr. Wiggles has so rightfully deserved. And John is out. What's happened to John? I think he's just retired. No, he's... I think John's now had a pit lane glitch. I think he's... maybe... exit spin, my goodness. Let's just have a bit of a standings check. Tamino, let's have a bit of a refocus. Tamino is leading the Grand Prix, and he needs to outscore Ross by about 15 points every race. He currently is scoring 10 more points than Ross. So he's still in the championship hunt, but he needs Ross to drop behind Deaton, D-bomb, Slap Bus, or get more penalties. Smaller Smiley is running in second and is having an absolutely fantastic race. Fairly, after recovering from a Turn 1 incident with Joseph Hales, is back up to 4th. Yeah, Deaton's racing a blinder. He's not been the quickest out there, But it's not all about that. On races like this, yeah. No, it's not all done, Snacks. But certainly it'd be very unlikely for Ross to lose the championship. So Tamino then gets this race back underway, and Ross has had a fantastic restart. Looking down the inside, gives Smaller room. Really good racing here, and will fairly try and get past Ross. Deflated Wee is the highest runner on those soft compounds, so watch out for him. He'll be looking to move, and what a brilliant move around the outside of turn 4. Fairley gave the space, and now Fairley looking to fight back. Shoves it down the inside, so close to contact. Ross and Smaller also fighting in the foreground, trying to run away with this. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a crash somewhere. In the back we got Joseph Hales trying to overtake D-Bomb. And he does get the move done. D-Bomb gave him space there. Slapbus looking for a lunge on D-Tom. Unlucky Wiggles. Full course safety car. Well, I did call it. And Deaton's got a penalty this lap. No need to pit for anyone. This safety car will be out for the whole of lap 28 and the whole of lap 29. We'll either get 2 laps racing or 1 lap racing at the end. I reckon it will come in at the end of lap 29. So Greg, Kemmons and Padge all pit. They're out of the points, but a brand new set of soft tyres didn't hurt anyone, especially if you can get them up to temperature for when the safety car comes in. Let's have a look at the penalties now, because Smiley, Ross, Wee and Deaton all have 3 seconds. So Smiley and Ross might be able to avoid losing ground. Slapbus will be the one that will be hoping to capitalise. Yeah, D-Bomb brought out the safety car with a crash. Just I came back into the lobby and it announced it. Is TD's mic working? He was just probably eating. Wow, makes a change. Makes a change, doesn't it? Do you guys want interval or leader? Let me know in chat. We'll stick leader on for now. Just because those time penalties might be a bit helpful to figure out at home. So Tamino then will lead us away for the final 2 laps of this Grand Prix. Any mistake now will cost you points. Oh, and Smiley spun! No, out of the final corner. Smiley has lost a podium in the cruelest way possible. Deaton getting overtaken by Slapbus. Flew making his way past Joseph, but Joseph fighting back. Nice overtaking to turn 4, but now Flew has the switchback. I don't believe that. Oh, and it looks like Flu's been squeezed by Joseph Hales, who runs wide. That guy trying to come alongside Flu, force the track, who's still fighting. And that guy gets through. Flu gives him space. And now Flu looking to keep hold of 9th from Hissy. Slapbus, meanwhile, needs to stay within 3 seconds of Ross. Well, he needs to stay within 3 seconds of Wee, and the podium is his. But if he can stay within 3 seconds of Ross, he will get second as well. Deton fighting with Joseph. Joseph with 14 seconds of time penalties. I'm sure Deton will just let him past and go, okay, bring me closer to that top 4. Oh, and Deton's, he's nudged the wall slightly. He's lost some momentum. And he's fighting now with that guy. Deton struggling on these soft compound tyres. The rhythm's gone. Oh, and there's contact! Final corner. I think it's that guy and Flu have made contact. Deton and Flu now making contact. Is he almost? We saw something come on our screen there, and that is somehow going to finish 6th after being 9th a few moments ago. We're on the last lap of the race, and Tamino leads the pack. And Ross may lose a spot to Slapbus, but he still should end up on the podium. And he'll only lose 10 points to Tamino and stay very much in the hunt for the championship. Ross has one hand on the trophy tonight. He's not mathematically won it yet, but he won't mind about that. Tamino, though, on lap 1, he was in 17th place. He seems to perform better when he's on a comeback drive. He started from last a few races ago and won. He's fought his way back up from 17th with a really good pit stop strategy and a little bit of good fortune. Tamino wins with a fastest lap here in Singapore and fairly spins across the line. Thankfully he does finish and he doesn't crash out. Slapbus indeed takes second away. Ross and a wee podium is stolen. Flu ends up 5th. AMS Fairley spins across the line in 6th. Hissy and Smaller 6th and 7th. And I can't finish the results. What on earth? What on earth has happened tonight? Maybe this game being so bad actually makes it more entertaining. Do you know what I mean? So, a normal race takes about 40 minutes here. This one has taken over an hour with the safety cars and the rain. It's so silly. Tamino wins. Slapbus keeping it clean, gets onto the podium. Ross stays on the podium. Deflated misses out on a podium by half a second. Very unfortunate there. Flu, nice result there, up into 5th without any penalties. Hissy 7th, Greg 9th, all without podium, all without penalties. Fairly drops down to 6th, and Smaller, after an agonising spin at the final corner, misses out on a podium himself. Padge gets a point and makes it 400 total IIRL points. Congratulations to Padge. Beautiful milestone to hit tonight. Deton should be driver of the day today, really should be, but just capitulated on that final stint and finishes out of the points somehow. Joseph Hales has had a bit of an up and down race, finishes out of the points in 12th, and that guy 13th. Clements on his return finishes 14th. Then we got D-Bomb, John, Perry Jerry, Prev and Ranier, all not classified, DNFing out of this race. Mr. Wiggles unfairly disqualified when he entered the pits for a pit stop.